Now, this episode of Arrow, again, kind of going back to what I was saying last weekend about me getting really excited over Deathstroke coming back, really surprised me in the sense that it was better than last week's episode. Now, now the plot of this one is that Malcolm gets recaptured by the League of Shadows after Thea blows the whistle on him, and and Oliver and Diggle basically go to rescue him. And among all this, there are all sorts of character conflicts, and arguments about what we should do, what we shouldn't do. Is this rescue really worth it? Blah blah blah. So all the drama that you've come to expect on this show is still here, and for the most part, it's still interesting. Now right away, I have to address the end of the episode. I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead real quick, and this is a spoiler, so just be warned. But Ra's al Ghul actually makes Oliver an interesting offer at the end of the episode. I mean, he has Oliver at his mercy once again. He could kill him. I mean, Oliver has broken into his stronghold, basically challenged him on multiple occasions, and Ra's al Ghul says, "I have no intention of killing you. On the contrary, I want you to join me. I want you to eventually take my place as the leader of the League of Assassins." Now, on one hand, I don't really know what this is going to do in terms of making an argument against all the people who just see this as sort of a Batman ripoff, because this is essentially the same offer that Ra's al Ghul has made to Batman on multiple occasions. Although I don't really see Oliver hooking up with Nyssa anytime soon, but hey, I could be proven wrong. And basically, in my opinion, the most interesting stuff in the episode came dealing with Oliver and the League of Assassins. And for once, or not for once, but what this episode had as an advantage is focus, and that is what I felt was truly lacking in some of the previous episodes that we got, particularly the episodes involving Brick and Oliver being away from the city, because I really thought those episodes were just kind of a mess. Again, an enjoyable mess, but a mess. Whereas this episode really focused on one central, well, for the most part, it focused on one central plot line, and stuck to it. Really, Oliver deciding, I'm going to rescue Malcolm Merlyn, and dealing with the emotional repercussions of that in terms of how his teammates are reacting. So so yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And for a while I was kind of getting scared because some of the interactions with Oliver and Diggle, once again, I another thing I like about this episode is that they show Diggle is still relevant, at least as a source of companionship and a source of wisdom, because Diggle, he's been around the block a bit. He definitely knows his stuff. He definitely knows Oliver. He knows what he's going through more so than any of the other teammates on the team. So so for a while I was kind of thinking, the way that they're handling this dialogue and the way that they're talking, are they going to kill off Diggle? Because if they do, then I'm going to be really sad. Understatement of the year, right? But but thankfully they didn't do that, and that actually contributes to my pleasant surprise when I heard the offer at the end of the episode, because not only does it mean that Diggle gets to live another day, possibly, but also it was something that I did not see coming. So yeah, and in addition, well, first of all, I have to mention, I honestly think the villain of this episode is Laurel. And again, some of you might be thinking, "Oh, he's just going to go off on Laurel again." But in this episode in particular, and the reason I actually think she's the villain of this episode is the fact, well, I really started to digest why I really don't like her as much as really any other character on this show, because every other character on this show, this is the reason. Every other character on this show, at least to my knowledge, has gone through some type of growth. They have grown as characters since the beginning. Even Thea, who I've actually kind of turned around on. Thea, I actually I actually don't hate anymore, at least the way it's currently going. How she's really taking responsibility for her actions, however unintentional they may have been, she's really offering herself up as sort of Nissa's retribution for Sarah's death. So I actually thought, despite the fact that you could argue, well, why is she stupidly letting Nissa out of her cage? You could argue that, but at the same time, it actually demonstrates an opportunity for Thea to do something that the Thea of season 1 and 2 wouldn't necessarily have done. So yeah, Thea has definitely matured as a character, and she actually feels genuine regret. And now that this truth has actually been revealed to her, the opportunity hopefully can open for her to grow even more. And speaking of that, an interesting character trait is also given to Roy. Finally, some development for Roy, who has actually been sort of stagnant over these past several episodes. Back in, I think it was the episode with Wildcats, where they introduced Wildcats. Roy learned that when he was under the Mirakuru-induced rage, he actually killed a police officer. And the fact that he is actually trying to console Thea as sort of being a kindred spirit, actually knowing what she's going through, really, really good stuff, and really well acted by Colton Haynes and Willa Holland. So they actually expand on that by Roy bringing Thea to the home of the officer that he killed, and basically saying that he actually helps them out. He gives them money. He helps them with groceries, whatever they need. Basically, he actually makes it a priority of his to help them out on a regular basis. So Thea says, why do you torture yourself like this? And Roy says, no, it actually helps with the guilt. So really interesting material for Roy and Thea this week. And so there's that. And in comparison to Laurel, the reason I really don't like her is she hasn't grown. She has not grown one bit from when the show started, and she is under the delusion that she has. She thinks that she has, and I actually think a lot of people think that she has. Not to sound too pompous in the sense that, I know everything and you don't. I really don't like thinking like that. But this is my honest opinion. I actually don't think Laurel has grown. I actually think she's gotten worse and definitely less professional than when she first started out. She's actually gotten more emotionally driven. She's still the same self-righteous, self-absorbed bitch that she was at the beginning of the show. In fact, she's gotten worse. She's actually gotten downgraded. So yeah, that real lack of actual growth is what really sinks the character of Laurel for me. And the reason I say that she's the villain, it's her fault that the bad things in this episode happen. Because she talks to Thea, and she actually causes Thea to blow the whistle on Malcolm Merlyn, which in turn causes Oliver to risk his own life to save Thea's soul and save Thea's conscience by going to get Malcolm Merlyn. So Laurel does something stupid like that, and in addition, she tries to take vengeance for her sister's death by attacking Malcolm Merlyn with her little nightsticks, all dressed up as the Canary. So I'm thinking, what did you honestly expect was going to happen in this scenario? And even Malcolm, other characters are calling her out on her stupidity at this point, and she sees absolutely nothing wrong with her behavior. You can see it not just in the way she's written, but in terms of her performance. She's just so stuck up. And yeah, Malcolm calls her out on it. He says, now you're just embarrassing yourself. You really thought you could take revenge for your sister's death with a stick? So I'm thinking, thank you. Good God. And sure enough, the League of Assassins show up, and also some new material for Malcolm, because he's brought before Ra's al Ghul, and Ra's al Ghul basically announces his intentions to, serve up justice, or his own demented brand of justice. And Malcolm actually begs for mercy. He begs, like, please let me serve you again. Please don't do this. Please, please. And basically we see a side to Malcolm that we haven't actually seen really ever we've never actually seen Malcolm beg for mercy, or at least exhibit the kind of fear that he does when he's in the presence of Ra's al Ghul. So to see him actually lose his composure was actually kind of disarming at first. So yeah, I enjoyed this episode. However, I think it, to a certain extent, it suffers from the same issue as Gotham did this week, although not to quite to that severity, in the sense that there's an extra plot line involving Felicity really trying to pry Ray Palmer away from his work on the Atom suit, and it all culminates in them sleeping together, and immediately afterwards he finishes the Atom suit and goes flying around the city. Now that whole plot line, it was well acted by Emily Bett Rickards and Adam and Brendan Routh. And in addition, it was well written. Everything was well handled about it, but it seemed entirely disconnected from everything else that was going on in the episode, to the point where it seemed like an entirely different show. So I was thinking, what does this have to do with anything else in the episode? The answer is nothing. Again, well handled on its own, but really not contributing anything to the rest of the episode involving, the League of Assassins. But yeah, that's about all I got. And I am going to do a video regarding the Atom in very soon. So yeah, I will do a video of that. And overall, my opinion of this episode as a whole was fairly positive overall. It was great seeing Katrina Law back, really seeing a side to her that we haven't seen before, in the sense that, she has this long-standing animosity with her father regarding her romance with Sarah, and how her father basically is not going to allow her to take his place as the leader of the League of Assassins. And I'm very interested to see how she's going to react to him offering the position to Oliver in the next episode. So yeah, really looking forward to next episode. We got some more stuff with Ra's al Ghul in this episode. Finally, some stuff with the main villain of the season. Remember him? So yeah, really enjoyed this episode as a whole. It could have been better focused, and some of the side plots could have been reined in to tie into the main plot a little bit more. But what can you do?